kerfuffle, I said.
Huh?
What a kerfuffle.
It is a bit of a
I,
kerfuffle.
I can't move because my eye stands, what's it called? Pod stand. My stand's broken. And every,
Are you
every, I'm not all right, Jack.
are you a real person?
I am. I get that a lot.
How long my hair is getting.
It is getting very long, Jack. It's not, though.
Yeah, I had to trim it because I won a competition. So
We both lost.
I won and then you lost. Simple as
Hi,
that.
Jack.
Hey Sam, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, mate. You okay?
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, motherfucker.
Um, yeah. So just for
Both
the.
has busy days, haven't we, Jack?
Do you want to talk about your days then, Sam?
I've just been at work all day, mate. But I'll just come off the back of all my double shifts and that. So I have 1 week where I work pretty much double shifts, and the other week where I have quite a bit of time off, which is good for me, work balance and that. But yeah, I just done my double shifts, and then finished with a long shift today, which was a very good, productive week.
Yeah.
Very tiring. I'm enjoying the job.
Yeah.
Enjoying working back with my old head chef and that.
That's the new place, isn't it? It's the new place.
Yeah, yeah. New place, new adventure. The people I'm working for are lovely, and I'm working back with my old head chef who I get on very well with. And we started the gym. Well, I've always been going to the gym anyway, but I said just a better gym, which has worked out quite well because it's cheaper and it's a lot better than what I was at. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's literally like a 2 minute drive from my work. It's got a swimming pool and a jacuzzi and everything, and the actual pub and restaurant shuts for a couple of hours in the day. Whereas my last place, we had to work all the way through.
Right.
Whereas this place, we shut for a bit, so I get to go and work on myself for a couple of hours each day. So
That sounds like you've got an excellent work-life balance going, Samuel.
absolutely, yeah, and that's what I think is very important for us all to have. Whereas you
Certainly is,
haven't.
mate.
Whereas you just work every hour under the sun at the minute. And
Yeah.
when you do get any spare time, I'm like, Jack, what are you doing today? Like, I'm just up the top of a mountain.
Yes. Yeah. So I had a few days off, and I decided to go up to Scotland. Basically just to finish off something that I started last year. To be fair, because obviously I've done a couple of mountains up in Scotland. So I've done Ben Nevis a couple of times, and I've done a couple
Who
of the other.
hasn't?
I've done a couple of the other Munros, but last year I decided to go and do, because I've done sort of the first, second, and third highest peaks of England. I've done the first, second, and third highest peaks of Wales. So I thought, well, I'd like to go do the first, second, and third highest peaks of Scotland. So last year I went and done Ben Macdui, which is the second highest peak in Scotland. Also, well, just for point of reference here, I think there's probably about 100 peaks in Scotland which are taller than any other peak in sort of England or Wales. So
Really?
they're all pretty tall for like the British Isles. So I've done Ben Macdui last year, and I've done a couple of the other ones around that area. But to get over to where the third highest peak is, which is Bray, you have to. There's basically this massive valley, and I remember last year I looked at it, I went, yeah, I can do that. I can get down there and up the other side. And I started to go down, and then that was when I had a real like shit scary moment where I was bouldering on my way down, and like I jumped onto one, and this boulder was like probably 2-3 times the size of me. And as I landed on it, the whole thing just shifted, and I had to like
I remember you saying.
I had to half roll, jump out the way, and then as I landed on another boulder, this fucking great big boulder was coming down on top of me, so I had to like proper like hoof it out the way, otherwise I'd have been crushed. And I remember I just sat there, and I was like, my heart was just thumping out of my chest. I just went, yeah, I'll come back and do it another day.
What? And you went back to do that again? That
so
sounds insane.
no, so I fucked off that time, went back up, and then went home. And then obviously that had always in a piece of my mind was like, oh, I need to come back and do the third highest peak, brag. So that was what I did. So left Thursday night and stopped off in Carlisle because I didn't want to do the whole. That's like 9 hours to get up to Avermore, which is like the little town right in the slap bang in the middle of the Cairngorm National Park. And that's just it's mental. I mean, I've done it all today, but it's a fucking long drive. So I split it in two. I went up and stayed in Carlisle for a night, and then from Carlisle I drove to another mountain along the way called Ben Lawes. So it was about halfway between where I was staying in Carlisle to Avermore in the Cairngorm National Park. And so, oh yeah, also I stopped off at the Wallace Monument in Stirling as well. That was pretty fucking cool. Wallace Monument, funny enough, is where I first realised I had a fear of heights when I was a little kid. I think I was only about 13 or 14, and my mum took me there, and I remember walking out onto the top, and at the top of the Wallace Monument, that's very open. You've got like these little struts that come up over the top, and then where the viewing platform is, that's very open. You've got like wind coming in from all angles. And I remember as a kid just being gripped with fear when I got onto the top of there and not being able to move and not wanting to go to the edge. And that was the first time I realised I had a real bad fear of heights.
Really?
So I ended up spending like the next probably decade trying to conquer that shit, which I feel like I have now. I feel I'm pretty good with heights now.
You're over your fear of heights there.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty fucking good with heights now. Yeah, I've done a lot of rock climbing. I've done a bungee jump. I do mountains all the time. I'm literally I'm no bother with heights whatsoever now.
That's weird because sorry to cut you off, but that's weird because you had a fear from heights initially as a kid and have grown out of it, whereas I never had a fear for heights and wanted to do bungee jumps and stuff as a kid and was climbing up everything. And as I got older, I've developed a real fear of heights, gone the other way.
See, I think that might be, I might be wrong with this, but I think because you've had kids,
yeah,
and I think like your mentality naturally, you've got that survival instinct in you now because of your children, and I think naturally you're just your heightened senses to everything. Whereas I don't, I don't have any children, Samuel. So for me, I can be a reckless fucker, and it don't really matter.
Yeah, it is interesting though. We have talked about doing a skydive together, try and get me over the fear, but of it, like even it's got to the point where I see people climbing up stuff on the internet, and it freaks me the fuck out. Yeah, I'm like, get down.
Yeah, no. So yeah, look, when I got to the top of the Wallace Monument this time round, I had no problem whatsoever. I was leaning out over the edge and everything. Clear blue skies, perfect sunshine. It was great.
Was it beautiful?
Yeah, it's stunning, mate. And then from there, I drove to Ben Lawes, which is another. I think it's the 10th highest peak in the British Isles. Wicked trek, about it was about 7.5 mile trek up and down. Again, beautiful weather, perfect. Couldn't have had any better. Then when I got down, I then drove a couple of hours to Avermore. Stopped over there, went for a dip in the little river just out the back of where the hotel is. That was
I saw a
cool.
picture, it looked amazing.
Awesome, mate. And then the following morning, I think that night I'd done a little bit of prep, just sort of looking at like Google Maps and just checking what my route would be up. And then in the morning, got up bright and early, got to the little car park and set off on my 18.5-mile trek. And I
know you had a busy couple of days then, didn't you?
Yes, mate, that was a mad one. I ain't gonna lie, there was a point. It's a long fucking way. So to get to Bragg, you can't really go like right up to the base of the mountain. You have to like trek about 7 miles in to actually get to it.
This is after doing the other mountains.
Yeah, so the other mountains the day before.
Can I just say I feel slightly embarrassed that you let me go first, and I was moaning about then a couple of I dribbled,
Yeah, I
couple
know.
of
So
double shifts.
I thought it'd probably be best, mate. I thought I'll let Sam make a fool of himself, and then I'll just tell him what I've been doing.
How are you? Bit tired, Jack. I've done a couple of double shifts.
So yeah, so you go about 6 months, and it's beautiful, absolutely stunning. Like again, blue skies, sunshine. Couldn't have had better weather for being up in Scotland, right?
Mm,
Um, you get about 4 miles along a track, and then you get to there's a famous little spot called the Charlemagne Gap, and that's
mm,
basically where you've got like this canyon that you have to work your way through, and it's just all boulders. So you're just bouldering all the way through, and then you come out the other side, and that's then like a slope and trail down to another ravine. And now this ravine is, I mean, that's fucking miles long. It's miles and miles and miles. But either side of this ravine is, you've got one side which is Ben McDewey, which I went to last year, and then the other side you've got Breck and Ken Tool and got the other side. So obviously last year is when I had that experience of thought, fuck it, I'll just go down and then up, sort of go
mm,
down to the ravine and then back up. But that was a bit dangerous. So this time round, I got down to this ravine at the starting point, and I started heading up. And I thought naturally there'd be another trail which would head up towards where Breck was,
mm,
but I couldn't see it. So I ended up trekking probably about 2 miles down this ravine, and then I got to a point I was like, "Oh, that's shit!" Like I couldn't see any route up to where I wanted to go, no
mm,
clear route anyway. And I just thought I'm going to end up trekking for ages and ages and ages, and I'm gonna do so long here, and then I've got to be mindful of having to get back. Obviously, it was quite warm. I had enough water, but I knew I probably didn't have enough to go sort of 20, 30 miles if that was going to be the case. So
mm.
I got to about 6.5, 7 miles in, and I just thought, Joe, I'm fucking fed up with this trail. So I looked up to my right, and that was like, it's quite a steep incline. It wasn't like like a vertical like incline, but that was quite steep. And I just thought, fuck it, I'm just going to go straight up, and I did. Um, it took me a little while, and I had a couple of scary moments, a couple of slips and trips, but I got all the way to the top, um, and then found another trail. And now this trail was the one where that was leading to where I wanted to get to the summit. And so I kept following that. Managed to find some people at this point. bear in mind, I'd been going for a few hours at this point with no one.
So you just went up and done all this on your own? Was it again?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
well. I mean, originally, I think I would plan to go and do it with my ex-girlfriend. Um,
yeah,
so obviously, she's my ex, so
yeah,
I
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
able to go with her. So I was on my Todd, and this was the first sport where I'd seen some people, so that was nice. So worked my way up to the summit, and I think I hit the summit around 9, 10 miles in. Um, and yeah, it was fucking awesome, mate. Stunning views. And then I saw there was a few other peaks, like like the other way around. So that's like a series of mountains all like linked together, and it goes round in like a cove. And
Mm.
I looked at where I was, and I was like, probably go do a couple more while I'm here. So I did. I went and done a little bit further on, but then I think I got to just over 10, and I realised I didn't really have enough water to be carrying on. I thought
Mm.
I'll just that, which was good. My rationale kicked in, and I showed some restraint, which is good. Which means I'm in a better
Yeah,
headspace than what I used to be, mate.
which draws me to ask you is like you clearly all right, like me and you speak all the time, and you're in a
Mhm.
good place and everything. But there was a time where you were using these mountains to self harm.
Yeah.
Why do you do it now?
Well, I'll tell you why, mate. Because I posted a quote yesterday,
Yeah.
um, and that was the absolute fucking reason. I totally got it. The quote was, "Somewhere between the bottom of the climb and the summit is the answer to the mystery why we climb."
Yeah.
Now, for me, there's a real draw to it, mate. When I'm up there, or you're in that struggle, you're about halfway up, your lungs are burning, your legs are on fire, but there's something in you. I was like, when I'm going up that vertical where there's no clear route, I'm going up an unmarked trail or anything like that. That for me, I got the biggest buzz and the biggest determination and thrill from going up there. For me, it was just like, even those bits when I was slipping, or like I'd lose my footing and I have to grip on. In my head, I was just always just keep going, just keep going, keep going, keep going. Right, little breather, keep going. And when you get to the top, that feeling and looking out and seeing the landscape and that, there's just nothing else like it, mate. And even now, when I'm in this better headspace, although I will say, like, I think, when I sort of mentioned like I should have been going up there with my ex-girlfriend. Really, I thought about her a lot whilst I was out. That was quite tough because she fucking loved going out and doing the mountains and trekking and whatnot. And there's a part of me that sort of thought, oh fuck, like I probably should be here with her, and sort of feel a little bit gutted about things and think, oh, did I make the right choice? But that's all just as part
of the healing process as well, isn't it?
Healing and time, mate. That's what I was going to say. It just takes time. So I got to the 10 miles, realized I probably only had enough water to get myself back, and I showed the restraint and I worked my way back. And then 18 and a half miles later, I was back at the car park, completely fucking exhausted, just finished all my water. And yeah, I'm just happy to be back at that point. That was a long, that was a long haul, that one, mate. But I've now done first, second, and third highest peaks in Scotland.
Congratulations, mate. That is incredible achievement, though, mate, and I'm proud of you for that. It is, and I asked you that question as well. I think we connect so well because we're always on a self-development quest to try and be the best versions of ourselves. Like, you take it to the extreme sometimes, but so do I.
Yes, mate. Yeah. Do you know what though? Like for me, like I had loads of text messages from people, and I think that shows a real growth in what I've been through just in the last couple of years. Like, I had so many people just text me and asking if I was all right, because they all knew I was up there on me Todd. And obviously a lot of them know my story and know that I'd go off on these mad trips almost as a form of trying to hurt myself or push myself. And it was nice. That was nice to realise that people do look out for me, and people do care.
Yeah, it always does play into the back of my mind when you say you're doing these trips. After hearing your story, I think, I hope he's all right. But after speaking to you, I can tell just by conversation. We sometimes don't even need to ask if you're all right. I can tell if you are or not. Me and you pick up on each other, don't we? If we go, you're all right. And like you'll say to me, you're all right. And I'll go, yeah. And you'll go, what's going on, mate?
What's going on?
Oh! I'll tell you.
This sort of stuff, mate, for me, that's part and parcel of who I am. I'm feeling it today, don't get me wrong. Like, I woke up this morning like the Tin Man. My lower back is killing me, but I still went and done it.
Do you know what I find fascinating about it is this thing you were using to hurt yourself to get out of self when you were going through that shit is the thing now you use as therapy to grow. The same thing, totally. But a different mindset.
Yeah, totally different mindset, mate. But that's the same thing. It's the same tool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even on the way back today, I knew it was going to be a long drive, so I thought, what can I do on the way just to make it a little bit more interesting? So I stopped off in Edinburgh and I went and climbed Arthur's Seat, which is a notably smaller mountain that's known as a hill, and it's like right slap bang in the middle of Edinburgh. But it's a
I've heard about your hills before.
It was about a 3 mile walk. Got it done. Again, honestly, I have no idea.
Where did you stay in hotels? Did you?
Yeah, so stayed in Carlisle in a hotel, then stayed in a hotel in Avermore, and then yeah, done a couple of nights in Abermore, and then drove back today, and stopped off in Edinburgh quickly. Done this hill, got the incredible views of Edinburgh and out into the coast, and just stunning, absolutely stunning. And then made my way back down, got in the car, and then drove the long fucking. This is the thing. Like, I think I have to just leave that for like maybe once a year now, going up to Scotland, because it's a fucking long drive, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just
You don't have to tell
so.
me and you done it fucking 24 hours, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We done it twice as well, didn't we? Twice last year.
Yeah, but we stayed the second time. We stayed for a couple of nights, didn't we? The first time was
Yeah,
fucking insane. We drove up to Scotland. We went to bed when we got there. We woke up and climbed a Monroe or
yeah.
whatever they're called, and then
Monroe.
Monroe, freedom. Sorry, and then and then we climbed it, come back down, had something to eat, and drove back. And I went to work for a double shift.
Oh, mate. Yeah, that we went. It's Carrara, wasn't it? We went up and saw Harry at Carrara Station.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I mean, that was an awesome trip, but fuck, that made us. I mean, at the time, we didn't even bat an eyelid, did we? We just thought, oh yeah, we'll go do it. And then that's
When we got to the station, people were like, what are you doing? I don't actually know. It's the first time I thought about it. But we got a little Monroe in before we went back and
we did.
smashed Ben Nevis.
Yeah,
We done Ben Nevis. September, end of this month, we've got the hotel booked and we're doing Snowdon. Me, you, AJ, maybe Marika, maybe Carl.
what do you mean? Maybe I thought they were up for
Well,
it.
yeah, but we'll see.
What does that mean?
Marika says this sort of thing all the time.
Does she?
And then she flakes out. Yeah. And Carl's not 100% sure if he can make it yet, but we'll
Well,
see. But
I'll
me,
be
you, and AJ are definitely going to be touching the summit.
100%, mate.
And then before we do the 3 peaks in March, what we're doing with Man Up, the charity, I want to go and do Scaffold. Scarfield. What's it called?
Scarfell Pike.
Starfell Pike. I want to go and do that. So I want to complete the 3 peaks individually before I do the 3 peaks in 24 hours. That's my goal.
Yep.
But we're running out of time because it's March, which doesn't seem that far away, but it soon creeps up on you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I was always going to go do these mountains that I've done these last couple of days, but yeah, I mean, you'll be fine, mate. If you can do Snowdon and Ben Nevis, you'll be fine on Scarfell Pike.
Yeah, I want to go and do it before March, just so I can say I've done all 3, and then it gives me an insight of what to expect on the day. I know it's not going to be easy to do 3 mountains in 24 hours, but I'm going to fucking do it.
I think that's the trailer, Sam. That's the fucking preview for this episode.
Yeah. Well, you got to fucking do these things, and you've got to push yourself beyond what you think you're capable of doing. Right?
Yeah.
When I first said I was going to do the challenge in the sea every day for a year, there was a part of me that doubted myself, but that doubt is what I thrived on.
Yeah.
You know, and you use it in a way as motivation to fuel you, and you think, no, I'm going to fucking do it. And now I get in cold water every single day. I started that challenge of getting in the sea every day for a year, like nearly 2 years ago. Now, like even this morning, I put a post up about it. I was trying to talk myself out of getting in the cold shower this morning, and I do it often. And before that negativity comes into my head too much, I have to just say to myself in my head, I have to go, no fucking around. You just get your ass in the shower, and I turn the shower on cold, and I get in it. Because if you talk yourself out of it once, before you know it, talk yourself out of it twice, and before you know it becomes enough. You form a habit, and healthy habits of getting into cold each day. If you stop doing it a certain amount of times and break that discipline, you've formed your old habit again, and then before you know it, you're not doing it. And you got to practice what you preach as well. I set people challenges all the time to do cold water therapy, and I've noticed a pattern with people that I've helped that will come back to me a couple of months later and say, oh, I'm back at square one again. I said, what's different to when we started? And I said, well, stop doing the cold water therapy, because you start feeling better. So you think, oh, I'm better now. So you stop doing the thing that makes you feel better. and we're all guilty of it.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm,
yeah, it's natural, mate. I mean,
yeah,
I'll be honest, I had that exact same feeling. What was it, Friday night when I got to the hotel? I was like, my legs were aching a little bit. I was like, well, I've got a bigger one tomorrow. Like, I need to fucking go get in some cold water. And I knew
yeah,
they had the river at the back because I'd stayed there last year. It was the same hotel. And I went down to this river. And everything in me was just going, oh, don't fucking get in there. That's going to be so fucking cold. Like, don't
yeah,
get in there. Don't get in there. Everything's saying, don't get in there. And then when I do, you have the
yeah.
you lose your breath, and then you settle, and then you just feel amazing because I can
What was it?
feel it.
What was the water like?
Oh, it's icy cold, mate.
Icy cold? Was it still or rough?
No,
Or
so it's flow, like a flowing river. It's quite a fast flowing river, so I had to kind of plant myself around some rocks so I didn't like drift down. But it
mm,
came sort of just up, sort of just below me nipples.
yeah,
Um, and I sat myself down in there, and that was the best feeling all through my legs and my hips, and
yeah.
um,
Well,
that
that all that climbing and walking you done is all the impact, isn't it? And
yeah,
that was is just like healing it straight away.
yeah, it's
So
best thing
it's
for me, mate. Best thing for me.
mm,
And what was good along the big route when I done that, they had there's like 2 or 3 streams along the way. So I had a couple of pit stops and just kind of I'd go in and just I'd get handfuls of the water and just soak myself and like over my head and just cool myself down. That's just so refreshing. Like
yeah,
it makes me feel like, and then I'm ready to go again.
yeah, yeah.
Um, there's definitely some healing properties to that shit, man.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I swear by it. I'm passionate about it as well because it's not just helped me. I've seen how many other people it's helped in that as well.
Yeah,
Mm.
100%, mate.
I spoke to a young lad the other day, and I set him a 30-day cold shower challenge, and he's took it upon himself now to get one of the ice pods in his garden and
Right?
everything. And he's he's over 5.5 months sober. I think he is, or 6 months sober. He's just
Wow.
come up to. He'd split up with his girlfriend. He's got back with her and that now, and he had kids with a previous partner, and he wasn't allowed to see him because of the state he was in. But now he's allowed to see him and
Hmm.
unsupervised, and he's helping another young man in his hometown and taking him to meetings and everything. And that's the power of cold water. But that made me feel amazing. That's why I do the things I do. Like it's just hearing stories like
But
that because I've spoken to so many different people over the phone over the last couple of years, and some of them they go off and you never hear back from them, and you think, I wonder if they sorted it out or not. You'll never know. All you've done is play your part by offering them a bit of advice, and hopefully they took it. Some people I've stayed in touch with and become friends with. I've met some amazing people on the journey, but to hear that, um, because I'd spoke to him the once, set him the challenge, didn't hear off him again. And if I'm being 100% honest, I thought I probably didn't like the advice I'd give him. But to know that he took it and it helped and it's helped, had a ripple effect and helping other people now
yeah,
is
that's the best possible result, mate. Isn't it? That's why
yeah,
you do what you do, and you try and incite some people with some good knowledge, some life lessons, and
yeah.
when you see an
I,
outcome like that, that just makes it
I,
all worthwhile.
honestly, I got off the video call to him and I fucking burst into tears, but not sad. It was like gratitude, like grateful. I was so glad that he had sorted it out and his life was going well, and and not only that, but he was passing it on and helping other people as well. It's how it works. And
Yeah.
if you change one life, you can change a million. Like, it has such a ripple effect. It's very, very powerful. I've just come past the longest I've ever been sober, and a couple and all that stuff was going wrong with my car and everything, and then that was in the back of my mind. Then I flooded me flat, and everything was being thrown at me by the universe, and I was thinking,
Oh
what the fuck?
shit.
And all at the back of my mind as well, I was thinking, this is where it's gone wrong before in the past and everything. This is normally where around this
That was
time.
honestly, mate. That was so fucking typical. I remember you telling me like you'd got that coming up. And I thought, ah, shit, that's going to be playing on your mind for a long while. And
Yeah.
then you had the car stuff, and I was like, "Oh, man." I remember I FaceTiming you, and I just thought, "Oh, man, I just want to talk through it all with you just to see where your head
Yeah.
was at."
Yeah.
And then obviously then you had the fucking washing machine as well, and I was like, "Oh, man." You could literally you couldn't have had a worse series of events going into
Oh,
where
there
you were
was a
coming up
couple of
to.
other things as well, but like I spoke to you about it, I spoke to other people about it, and I was talking to my mum, and it's just really shown me how far I've come in Sprite as well. Because
Yeah.
not only did all that go wrong, and the longest point, which can be a trigger for people, I think, but I didn't even think once about picking up a drink or a drug. It just wasn't in here whatsoever,
Mhm.
and I also saw these things that are happening. And there's something that I was, oh, this is shit, but good things are on the way. And that's what I see. And I thought, and I was reminding myself, which was showing me how strong I've become mentally. I was thinking, if you can get past this, all this shit that's being thrown at you at a minute, next month's going to be fucking easy. Yeah. So it
And that's true, right?
in a way, I enjoyed the chaos of it all. I thought, do you know what? This is fucking stuff that is out of my control.
Yeah.
I can't do nothing about it apart from dwell on it and let it ruin my fucking month, or accept it for what it is and deal with it one by one. And that is what I learned from this lesson as well. Instead of trying to fix everything all at once, deal with one problem at a time. Because then you can just tick them off. And before you know it, you fucking bash through them. If you try and fix everything all at once, you're fucked. You're all over the
Yeah.
place.
You just ride it out, mate. You ride it
Yeah,
out. The tough times come, but they don't last. Do you know what I
exactly,
mean?
mate. Yeah.
There's always a point where things will start to turn, and that's the
Mm,
bit where you thrive, because then you realise that you've been through all the shit, and then all
mm,
of a sudden that's just you're better off because you've been through it. You're stronger, and
yeah.
you got a better mindset. You're more resilient,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I go off and do this fucking shit, because all it does is sometimes,
Growth.
yeah, it is, mate. And sometimes you have to, I think, in the kind of hustle and bustle of like your daily life, where you're just going back and forth to work, and you get a little bit of exercise in, go for a run, go to the gym, hanging out with friends. I think there's a part of that, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with people who live that life anyway. But there's the part of me realizes that's just softening me. Even though I've got a job where I'm always busy, there's always something new, and I'm always growing and learning. There's that consistency and that day in day out. That just, I think, it softens the mind and softens the body.
Mm,
So for
mm,
me, like taking myself hundreds of miles up north to the mountains and just pushing myself and going and doing something on me toes, a little bit dangerous, a little bit reckless. But that for me, just resets my mind, and my resiliency kicks back in, and it makes me realize who the fuck I am. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. 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 I love
Do you know what I mean?
that.
And I think it's so important, mate. People have to do this shit. People, I can't encourage people enough to really push your boundaries, push yourself to the limit, and test yourself, because there's so much that can be learned from that. And I think with your mental health and your mental well-being, going and doing things like that and achieving things, so powerful, so
Mm,
powerful. And you can, I mean, people can completely turn their life around just from fucking
mm-hmm.
going and running a marathon, a half marathon, a 10K. Do you know what I mean? People can do that. That's proven.
Mm.
People set themselves challenges which are completely out of their comfort zone, and it changes their lives. You
Yeah.
know,
It's growth, isn't it? It
totally,
is. It
mate.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think you're the same. Yeah, and I'll continue. We'll continue to promote that until the cows come home, mate. You know, that's just who I am, and I see it in myself. I know how far I've come.
Mm.
Um, so I'll try and inspire people as much as I can. That's who I am now.
Yeah, exactly. And it gives you a sense of purpose to try to not only set these goals, smash them, but try and inspire other people along the way. I think it gives you a real sense of purpose doing that. And I think without purpose, then that's when we struggle. That's when we get stuck in self and end up having these depressions or drink or alcohol
Hmm.
or drug problems, because you feel like you've got no purpose and you don't know why you're on this planet. Right. I think it's very powerful to have a purpose, to have targets and goals, and keep aiming towards them, ticking them off. And so every time I set myself a target and I smash it, I think, right, I don't dwell on it. I think, what's next? You know what I mean? I do stupid, like I'm on day 4, no sugar now. I'm always doing something like, well, I'll do 30 days. This, I haven't even set an end goal for it. I just want to do it for as long as possible. But I'll do 30 days no bread. I've said to you before, 30 days without this, 30 days without that, because I always have to install discipline in my mind because I've struggled so much with it before. There's so much in abundance on offer for us that can damage us. You have to practice discipline with yourself, because if you don't, you just fucking end up a fucking slob, and you'll die young. You know, like,
yeah. Well, that's what one of our favourites, David Goggins, he described himself as a disciple of discipline. That's why he's able to achieve everything he does. People comment and just say he's a freak of nature. Well, no, he's just a disciple of discipline. That's how he describes himself. He's pushed himself for everything. He's trained. He's disciplined. That's how he's able to achieve everything that he's ever done.
Yeah, exactly. And if you look back on it, like, I don't know if it's the same with you with your mental health, but when I was drinking and taking drugs, it was a complete lack of discipline.
Yeah.
Everything bad is coming from lack of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't got discipline with yourself, you've got absolutely nothing. You know, and you have to take the time in the morning, I think, and in the evening to just check in with yourself and reflect on your own behaviours, because we can all see everyone else's character defects a mile off, and we'll slag someone off for having the same character defect that we've got because we don't look at our own. Well, I never used to, but I do now. Do you know what I mean? But
100%, mate. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a journey. A week today, 2 years sober I am.
Boom.
Boom.
That's only the beginning, mate. It's only the beginning.
It is, and it's self-discipline, and I'm loving life at the minute, Jack. I really am.
It's awesome, mate. Well, look, we've only got a couple of minutes left, so just to look ahead to the big Snowdon expedition, which we've got in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously, you're training hard. You're ready to go. What are your thoughts going into that? I know, obviously, you've done Ben Nevis, and obviously you've done the smaller Munro that we've done near Carrera Station.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts and feelings over Snowdon?
I'm looking forward to it. I know they're not easy, and I'm still not in the best shape I'd like to be in, but I'm working towards it. But I'm in a lot stronger place mentally, even than what I was just then. Every day I get stronger mentally. You know, I'm really, really looking forward to it more than anything. Whereas I was nervous and didn't know what to expect with Ben Nevis so much. With this, I know what to expect. I know it's going to be tough. I know it's going to be grueling, but I need another challenge like that. I'm looking forward to it, mate. I'm excited, buzzing.
And which route would you like to do, Sam?
The easy one.
I mean, there's several.
I ain't that fucking disciplined.
Obviously, there's several routes up Snowdon. I'm fortunate enough now, since the last time I've done it, I've done every single route now. So I know
we're taking the tram, aren't we?
Are
we not taking the tram? What? We're climbing it.
On that bombshell. I'll call it. We're calling that. Take it easy, mate.
Peace out.